Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Where to Find Paying Clients in the Economy. We are getting people inside of our Zoom room right now. Tavia, oh my goodness, it's so good to see you. And Jenna and Christina. Hey, Christina, how are you?
Hi.
Hi. Brandy. So we're just going to give people a few minutes to pop on so that we can get everybody kind of situated. If you are watching inside of the Facebook group, awesome. There is a link inside of your email and you can join us live inside of the Zoom room so that you can get any of your questions answered. Would love to see you and meet you. We have got such a jam-packed next couple of days. I'm super excited about it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you so that you can see our playbook. So if you have not yet downloaded the action guide and you're inside of the Facebook group, you'll want to go ahead and go to the very top of the Facebook page and click on Where to Find Paying Clients in Any Economy. That will take you to the registration page so that you can get your action guide. So I will share my screen with you while we're doing this. So if you don't have it yet, not a problem. You can actually see what I'm talking about. But if you do want an action guide of your own, please make sure that you register and we will make sure that that gets sent to you. If you've registered and you can't find it, let me know. Just pop me a chat and say, hey, I've registered, but I can't find the action guide. I would love to have it. Happy to send it to you that way. Sometimes it does end up in spam. So just so you know, sometimes when you register for something, if it is something that you have not been, in my community before, it's brand new, sometimes it just ends up in spam or your promotions folder. So super excited to dive into Where to Find Paying Clients in Any Economy. This is going to be so fun. So this is actually the number one question that I answer when I work with clients. Everybody wants to know, where do I find paying clients, right? Where's my clients? Where are they? And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a training on this because this is something that is absolutely going to not only be huge value, but I want you to create some quick wins. And I want you to start thinking about where you can find your paying clients no matter what is going on in our economy. So first place to start is in your action guide. I want you to take a look at where are you on the pathway right now? Where are you on the paying clients pathway? So down at the bottom, you'll see that it's just starting out. I have no clients, not sure where to find them. I need help right now, right? And if that's you, no harm, no foul, no shame at all. We all have to start someplace. So if you're just starting out and you're like, you know what, I just want to get my business off the ground and I'm not really sure where to find my clients, not a problem. Go ahead and circle that. The next step up is I have a few clients, but it just kind of feels like dumb luck that I have them, right? We're kind of like, wow, someone reached out to me or I have a client, but I'm honestly not sure where to find them consistently. And I really want that. So if that's you, go ahead and circle that so we know where you are in the pathway so that we know where it is that we want you to go. The next one is I've had lots of clients and I'm making great money, but it's not consistent. Right? Some months are great, some months suck. I'm tired of trying to figuring this out alone, and I know I need help. So a lot of times we can bring clients in and all of a sudden it starts to dry up and you're like, well, where are my paying clients now? I've had, great income coming in, or I have a whole bunch of, this month was really great, but the next month was not so great. So this training is designed to not only help you find paying clients, but also to bring them in consistently. Because if we don't have consistent cash flow in our business, we're not going to have a profitable and a sustainable business. And the last step is I know my ideal client really well. I know where she hangs out and I attract her easily and consistently every single month. It's actually fun. Anybody there? It's possible. I'm there. I know where my ideal client really well. I know where she hangs out and I attract her easily and consistently every month. It's actually fun. It is totally fun for me. This is actually fun for me to be able to hear and to share and to serve you in this way. So just know that no matter where you are in the pathway, you are going to walk away with some really golden nuggets that are going to help you move even just one step further. And that is really what this training is all about. I want you to come here to consume, to learn, to take away golden nuggets. As you can see in the action guide later on, if you feel that you want more support implementing what I'm teaching, I will share a way that you can actually have my support in doing that inside of Six Figure Foundations. But I'm not going to focus on that. This is not about making a pitch. This is about giving you an opportunity to find out where you are and where your paying clients are, what it is that they're looking for, how to bring them consistently into your ecosystem, and how you can actually invite them to work with you in a way that feels really good. So if that sounds like fun for you, I want you to pop in yes in the chat. If you're ready to uncover where to find your ideal paying clients, give me a yes in the chat, even if it's on Facebook. And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and pop in #replay, so I know you're watching the replay, and yes in the chat that you are absolutely ready to dive into this information. So first step, congratulations that you're here. You have created this time in this space out of your busy life. I know that it's no small feat to actually show up live to these things, right? We can, even with the best of intentions, sometimes we're like, oh, damn, I missed it. So congratulations, you're here. And that tells me that you are really intentional, you're impact driven, you want to make a change in your business, you want to find clients, you want to be able to share and serve with more people in the world in the way that you can do that. So today we are going to dive into, in order to find out where your ideal client is, we need to uncover who she is or he is. Right? Because we don't know where they are if we don't know who they are. So today we're going to talk about who your ideal client is. Tomorrow, we're going to uncover even more specifically where that specific ideal client that you uncovered is hanging out in person and online. Your clients are everywhere, but I want you to uncover specifically where you can connect with her and attract her into your world. And in order to do that, we need to know specifically where she's hanging out. On day 3, we're going to uncover what is it that they actually want. So that's really important, because in order for us to nurture people, to create relationships with people, to bring more ideal clients into our ecosystem, we actually want to give them value. But if we're just like saying, yeah, just get on my newsletter or just get on my email list, like nobody wants that. So on day 3, we're going to uncover what is it that they really want. And how do you actually share that with them? What way can you do that? What can you create that is actually high converting, so that not only do they come into your ecosystem, but they actually move from a stranger into a viewer, from a viewer into a potential client, from a potential client into a potential lead, and ultimately into a buyer. And then on day 4, which is Thursday, we're going to talk about how you actually invite people to work with you in a way that feels really good, natural, aligned. It's not icky. It's not salesy. It's not pitchy. It's just giving somebody the next simple steps to work with you. And on day 4, I'm giving you guys a bonus class. So on day 4, actually on day 5, on Friday, at 1 o'clock, that's the only difference. Every single day, we're going to go live here, 4 o'clock Eastern time. But on Friday, that's going to be 1 o'clock Eastern time. And that is my gift to you. You can come. It's going to be an Ask Me Anything call. So if you have any specific questions that you want to cover with me, from who your ideal client is to where to find her, to how to create, value and how to deliver that, to how to invite people to work with you, I'm going to laser coach you for an hour on Friday so that you can absolutely implement what it is that I'm teaching you so that you can create results in your business. All right. So step 1, who's your ideal client? These are specific questions that I really want you to spend time with. So your homework tonight, if you do not know your ideal client intimately, I want you to spend some time with these questions, even if it's just grabbing a notebook and a piece of paper and answering these questions. Because again, if we don't know who our ideal client is, we don't know where she's hanging out. We don't know where she is in person. We don't know where she is online. So uncovering your ideal client avatar is critical. Absolutely critical. You cannot press go. You cannot go any further if you don't know who it is that you're serving. So I really want you to think about this from the terms of one main ideal client. I know that you're amazing at what it is that you do. I know that you can help multiple people at what it is that you do, but I really want you to think about this in terms of one ideal client. Because if you go too broad, your ideal client is not going to know that you're the person for her. We talk about niche being rich, and oh my gosh, niche is rich, broad is broke, niche is rich, broad is broke. I'm not talking about niche specifically per se. I'm talking about a specific person, an ideal client here. Because when you know your ideal client, the niche will open up in that process. So instead of trying to figure out what niche you're in, I want you to think more about your ideal client. And the answer to these questions are going to help you uncover specifically and intimately who she is. So I want you to take some time and really think about who is the best client you've ever had. If you had a roster full of this client, you would be so excited, you'd be doing your work joyfully, and it would be easy. So when you're answering these questions, I really want you to think of that one main ideal client. And if you haven't had any clients yet, that's okay. I want you to think about either a practice client that you've worked with, or you could even make it up. Like if you could have 100 of a roster full with a waiting list, and all of these people wanted what it is that you had, and you were so excited about serving them and sharing and creating a transformation for them. I want you to think about this one client. Now, the next question is, with this one ideal client in mind, what is the main struggle that wakes your client up at night? And I want you to think about, what is she Googling at night? We all use Google, right, to ask questions, right? So what is she Googling in the middle of the night? I can tell you she's not Googling, where can I find a 12-week program? She's not Googling that. She's not Googling, where can I find a health coach? She's not Googling, where can I find a life coach? But she is Googling something very, very specific. And I want you to uncover that. What is it that she's Googling? Is it, gosh, how do I sleep through the night? Is it, what foods boost my metabolism? Is it, how do I finally get rid of the, last 20 pounds while I'm in menopause? What is it that she's Googling at night? And here's a clue. Your ideal client is a previous version of you. Your ideal client is a previous version of you. And so if she is a previous version of you, then what is it that when you were struggling, what is it that you would have Googled at night? If you were waking up and you're like, oh my God, I just got to get a handle on this. How am I going to do this thing? I want you to write that down. I want you to also ask yourselves, what are the doubts that they might be experiencing right now? So it could be, multiple things. It could be depending on if you're a life coach or a holistic practitioner, or, hey, Courtney, a voice coach, or a mindset coach, or a massage therapist or energy worker. What are the doubts that they're experiencing right now about having a solution to their problem? I'm not talking about doubts about investing and working with you. I'm talking about, what are the doubts that they have about having a solution to their problem? What are the doubts that they're experiencing right now? Is it that nothing works for me? I've tried all the things. It's that it's going to take too much time. Is it that, I don't know if I'm doing it right or wrong? Another thing that I like to think about under doubts are myths. What are some myths that they might believing is true about their problem? For example, going gluten-free is really hard. Maybe if you're in the health coaching arena and you want to help somebody go gluten-free, they might be thinking, you know what, it's going to be too hard. It's too complicated. It's going to cost too much money. My family's not going to like the food, right? It's going to be hard to stick with. Going to be expensive to buy groceries, whatever that is. So I want you to uncover, what are the doubts that they're experiencing right now. Then we want to take a look at, what is it that they would have to believe in order to see that whatever transformation they desire is possible for them right now. This is, do not pass go with this question. You must answer this question. Why? Because if your ideal client does not believe that her transformation is possible right now, she cannot be a yes to working with you. Yeah. She cannot be a yes to working with you. So we have to know, what is it that she needs to believe in order to see that her transformation is possible in the world for her right now? Not next year when the kids go to school or go away to college, not when all the stars align, not when she feels that she's got enough time, but right now. And I want you to think about that. What would you have had to believe in order to see that the transformation that you wanted, the result that you wanted, was possible for you? This is something that I actually teach inside of Activate Abundance. For those of you that don't know me yet, I totally forgot to introduce myself. I'm Chris Williams. I am the founder and the creator of Activate Abundance Academy. Also, I'm the founder and creator of Six Figure Foundations, and I support women, wellness coaches, and holistic practitioners to create six-figure and multiple six-figure businesses without trading their integrity or their well-being for success. So this is important. What do they have to believe in order to see the transformation is possible for them now? Before we can say yes to anything, whether it's investing in a business coach or investing in a health coach or a voice coach or a brain coach or a mindset coach, we have to go up through a ladder of beliefs. And the first ladder is, what do I believe it's possible? Do I believe that this result, do I believe that it's possible for me to go gluten-free with ease? Do I believe it's possible? Do I believe it's possible for me right now? Do I believe it's possible for me right now with your help? And then the last step is, do I believe it's possible for me right now with your help? And then I'm willing to actually say yes to do it. These are questions that are going to help us understand the psychology of our ideal client. And this is really important, because if we don't know what it is she's thinking and feeling, then we don't know how to speak to her. Instead, we're just using coach speak. And we tend to do that a lot when we first are starting to get our business off the ground, because what we know is the way that we actually support somebody, right? With a 12-week program or a 6-month program or a 1-year program. And we might talk about, you get 12 one-hour sessions with me, or 6, group sessions or whatever. Those are features. And your ideal client at this point in time absolutely doesn't even care about that. She wants to know, or he wants to know, depending on if you're working with men or women, they want to know, what is the result that I get to have if I work with you? And do I believe that that result and that transformation is even possible? So spend some time journaling. What would they have to believe in order to see that the transformation is possible for them? The next question is, what does your client believe will happen if they don't succeed? What do they believe will happen if they don't succeed? What does it cost them in terms of their health, in terms of their life, in terms of their business? These are some critical pain points to help us uncover, what does it look like for her right now on Pain Island? I like to think of this as my client right now and all of her struggles, the struggles that are waking her up at night, the mist that she's experiencing right now, the fear that she won't succeed. All of this is happening for her right now on Pain Island. My job is to help her see what is possible for her over here on Pleasure Island. And that is the transformation. That is a result that she gets to walk away with by working with me or by working with you. Okay, but we have to know what it looks like for her on Pain Island in order for us to talk about it, right? So we have to know, what is the struggle? What does she believe will happen if she doesn't succeed? So what happens if she is still struggling? If she's still struggling with low energy, is she not able to participate on weekly hikes with her grandkids or her husband or her spouse? Is she constantly reaching for donuts in the afternoon because she's exhausted? If she's waking up at night, and if she doesn't get her hormones balanced, then what's going to happen? Well, she's going to continue to wake up at night, and she's going to continue to struggle, or maybe she's struggling with anxiety. So what is it that your ideal client will believe if they don't succeed? What will it cost them in terms of their health, their life, their business, and even their relationships? Okay. It is going to cost us something. Whenever we're struggling and we're on Pain Island, if we do not get to Pleasure Island, it is going to cost us something right now. And chances are it's costing us the hardship or the pain that we're experiencing when we're on Pain Island. So get clear on that. What does she believe will happen if she doesn't succeed? And then why is it important that she fix this now? Remember, if she's not willing to fix it now, and if we don't know why it's important for her to fix this right now, she can't be a yes to working with you. It doesn't work that way. Again, this is human psychology. We're talking about belief systems here. So if we're not speaking into why it's important that she fix this now, if we're not clear about why that's important to her, then that is actually going to not be beneficial to our messaging or to the content that we create or the programs or the way that we speak to our ideal client. What feelings, actions, and circumstances does your ideal client no longer want to experience? So again, we're going in a little bit deeper with the pain points now. What is she like? I am so darn tired of this. I do not want to experience this anymore. I'll give you an example. So one of my clients who came to work with me, she was struggling with lymphedema. She was waking up at 3 a.m. with anxiety and panic attacks. She knew that she was not treating herself well, and she did not want to experience that anymore. She wanted to lose 50 pounds. And her feeling was she felt anxious. She felt fearful. She felt that things were never going to get better. And she was a no for experiencing that anymore. In order for somebody to be a yes for their transformation, we have to get clear about what they're also a no for. So what are they no longer willing to experience? You know, maybe for you, it's you're no longer willing to experience frustration and struggle on where to find your ideal client. Maybe you're no longer willing to experience, lack of income in your business. Maybe you're no longer willing to let this be an expensive hobby, and you want this to be an actual profitable and sustainable business, right? So I want you to think about, what is it? What are the circumstances that your client's like, you know what, I'm no longer wanting this? The next question that's going to help us uncover more of what it is that she wants, or what are the mistakes that your ideal client is making right now that are keeping them stuck? So for example, they might be focusing on the wrong area. They might be implementing the wrong strategy. They might be missing a critical foundational piece. So think about that. What are the mistakes that your ideal client is making right now? Some of the mistakes that I see my ideal clients making is starting with a membership. Many people try to start their business. They just want to make passive income, and they make the mistake of thinking that all they have to do is get a membership and sell $47 or $97 offers, and they're going to be able to make money in their sleep, and it's going to be easy. And yeah, it doesn't work that way. Let me just say, unless you have a huge audience already, and if you're here, I know that you don't, because otherwise you would know where your ideal client is and you'd be bringing in the income right now. But unless you have a huge audience, and I'm talking like tens of thousands, you are not in a position yet in your business to have a membership. So that is one of the mistakes that I see my ideal client making a lot, is, oh, I just want to start a membership. Okay, there is a time and a place for memberships. But if you're not yet at 6 figures, and I would say if you're not already at $500,000 in your business, you don't want to build a membership. Another mistake that I see my clients making is just throwing money at Facebook ads. Again, if you don't know your ideal client, and you don't already have a marketing system and a sales system that is working for you to bring clients into your business, Facebook ads will not solve that problem. Okay, so I see a lot of people just throwing money at Facebook ads, trying to get leads generated, and they don't really know how that works. So I see not having a marketing system, not having a sales system, and really not really uncovering and knowing intimately who their ideal client is. So what would your ideal client next need to believe in order to see that your offer or your program is possible for them now, with your help, and at a level of 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. Why do we need to answer this question? Because we want to understand what are the beliefs, right? This is a belief ladder, whether we're buying a mattress or whether we're buying a new car or whether we're investing in buying a new house or even picking, a phone, whatever phone it is. We need to believe that the result, the transformation is possible, and we have to be willing to take action at a level of 10. We have to be like all in. Yep, I am willing to do whatever it is that I need to do, take whatever steps I need to take in order to have this result. If your ideal client is not ready to do that, she can't be a yes. She can't be. Why? Because this problem is either not big enough, or she doesn't see the value, or she doesn't believe that result is possible for her. Okay, is this making sense? If this is making sense, I want you to pop yes in the chat. I want you to pop yes in the chat if this is making sense. Another mistake that I see is not spending enough time here on your ideal client. Just thinking, well, I work with women who want to lose weight, which is a great place to start. But I really want you to go even more in depth. Again, in order to find out where your ideal client, hey, Kim, you need to know exactly what she's struggling with here. Okay, so when you uncover this, then you'll be able to find out where she is. Okay, so I want to open up some questions here. Who would like support around any of these questions here about your ideal client? Whether it's uncovering the belief system that she needs to have, whether it's uncovering more specifically about the main struggle that she's Googling at night. Yeah, Teresa, go ahead and come off mute. I would love to support you around that. And then Paige.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I have been struggling with this niche thing for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved that you said at the very beginning that this isn't about a niche. And so I really don't understand the difference. And I was hoping that maybe, because when I think about a niche, I think about I work with professional women, or I work with working moms, or I work with solopreneurs. And those just seem so broad, and it feels to me like I need to narrow it down. But every time I try to narrow it down, I talk myself out of it and I go back to being broad again. And so I kind of got kind of stuck on the very first question, because if I'm not looking for my ideal client as a niche, then what am I looking for when I answer this question?
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah. So you're looking for one main ideal client, one person. A niche is a group of people. So it's a larger group of people, right? So I would say that my niche are women wellness entrepreneurs and coaches. That's my niche, but that's not my ideal client. My ideal client is one main person that is struggling to find clients, struggling to have consistent income, struggling to know how to actually create marketing that speaks to their ideal client, right? So my one main ideal client is very specific.
So then if my ideal client is a working mom who is overwhelmed and stressed out, and is looking for how to navigate life more easily, is that like where I'm going with this then?
Yes,
is that
that's where you would, yes, that's exactly it. That's where you would start. And then we want to go in deeper into these questions to uncover even more. What are the pain points? What's it costing her? What are the pleasure points? So we know how to talk to her. So we're not using coach speak of live your best life ever, navigate life in a stress-free way. Well, who doesn't want to navigate life in a stress-free way? I'm not picking on you, Teresa, but we all want that, right? So we wanted to even be more specific. Instead of just navigate life in a stress-free way, we want to be, what is it that she really wants? What does that really mean? What does navigate life in a stress-free way mean specifically to this mom? Versus what would navigating life in a stress-free way look like to somebody who doesn't have children at home anymore? right? So we want to get really specific here, really clear here. And if we don't know, we can ask, right? If we don't know, we can go to the mom and say, hey, if she says, you know what, I just want things to be easier. Great. Tell me, what does that look like for you? If things were easier, if you were, navigating life and you felt more joy and at peace, what would that look like for you? What would you no longer be doing? What would you be doing? Who would you be doing it with? Right? So this is helping us uncover specifics about our ideal clients, about her psychology, about what she believes, about what she wants, about her dreams, about her desires, about the pain that she's experiencing that she doesn't want to have anymore.
So, working moms, including empty nesters, and that's still too broad, right? So it's like maybe working moms that have kids at a certain age, like junior high or around a certain age, is more specific, right? Because they have different needs than, like you just gave that example of an empty nester mom.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still being too broad, even with the working moms. I think I understand from your example. That really helped.
Yeah, because again, this is going to be, your ideal client is one person. We need to she wants to be heard. She wants to be able to see, what we want to do is we want her to feel like we are in her brain. Right. And it's so interesting because I've had so many people when I've made posts or something go, Chris, you are like, get out of my head. Like you are saying the exact same thing that I'm thinking. Well, I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't know my ideal client, if I didn't go deeper into where the challenges and the pain points and the specifics.
So how did you overcome the niching down? Like there's such a resistance there for me to be really specific. So how did you overcome that and really niche down into that select group?
That ideal client. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a mindset issue. That's not necessarily a strategy issue. It is definitely a mindset issue to understand that the more specific you can be, the more your ideal client is going to self-identify. The more specific you can be, the more your person knows that you're talking to her. And that is actually more supportive than being so broad, because when we're so broad, it actually doesn't land with anybody, which means I'm not helping anybody. Right now, there was a way, and I can totally share with you how I uncovered, who my ideal client was. And this might be helpful for many of you if you're still struggling. I took a look at what were my 3 favorite clients. And I said, this is one client, this is another client, and this is the 3rd client. And I wrote down everything about them. And I wrote down, this was a yoga teacher, this was a health coach, this was a life coach. These are their age groups. This is where they're getting stuck. These are the questions that they're asking me in sessions. These are the places that I see them getting stuck. This is what they're telling me that they want. And I wrote all of that down. And then I took the similarities. And wouldn't you know it, they were all wellness entrepreneurs, which makes sense because I have over 30 years in the wellness field as a yoga teacher, as a massage therapist, as a health coach, as a functional nutritional therapy practitioner, as a meditation teacher, as a money mindset coach, right? Those are all of my experience. So it makes sense when I say your ideal client is a previous version of you. So, that is a technique that I highly recommend. Who are 3 of your most favorite clients that, if you had to, write them all down and then ask yourself, some of the answers to the questions that you have here, and then make the similarities, pull the similarities together. And if you could create one ideal client out of the answers from those 3, that's going to give you more specific information so that you can start actually speaking to her. Right. And if we know that she is a busy mom with kids under 5 and, she, doesn't have time to make dinner, then that's also going to tell us, a little bit more about what's going on in her life so that we can go where it is that she's going. And we're going to talk about that more tomorrow. Where does this specific client hang out online and in person? When she leaves her house, where does she go? When she's online, where does she go? What books does she read? Right? What self-help books does she read? Is she into, that is going to tell us exactly where to find her. The truth is your ideal client is everywhere, right? You can meet her everywhere. But this is what I really want you to see is there are going to be specific places in person and online, so that you can go to where she is and help her raise her hand and go, I'm your ideal client. Like, I need what it is that you're teaching. Right? Today's class, the title of the class, Where to Find Paying Clients in Any Economy, is very specific, right? It's solving a specific problem. Where do you find clients, right? The only reason why I know that that is what my ideal clients struggle with is from years, working with and realizing, wow, you know what? Everybody asks me that. And guess what? I struggled with it too. So I know that in order for my ideal client to self-identify, I need to be able to speak and to be able to share and teach ways that she can move from, I don't know where to find clients, to, oh, this is so cool. I have 10 places now. I know where my ideal client is. Does that make sense, Teresa? Yeah, awesome. Hey, Paige, how are you? It's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in such a long time.
Yeah, I've been working on a presentation for a business pitch competition next month.
Amazing. How can I support you today?
Do you recommend starting out with a small group coaching at a mid to high ticket level?
I do. Yeah. And that's kind of getting more into pricing and programming. But it depends on your ideal client, right? So once we uncover our ideal client and who she is and where to find her, then we can guide her into the best container of support that is going to help her get her transformation.
Yeah, I'm thinking I could start out with the idea of scaling up to a full membership and start with a small group coaching offer that would lead into that. And there would also be presentations from the functional and integrated medical professional directory members.
Amazing. Absolutely. I think that would be great. Now, before you offer that, though, we want to know even more specifically about her. Who is this ideal client that wants that?
Me
Right.
7 years ago and better funded.
Yeah. So take some time and answer those questions so that she is really, really clear about what is the solution and the result that she wants to walk away with from that program. So here's the other thing that I want to share about ideal client. You are going to come back to this over and over and over again. As a matter of fact, I come back to this over and over and over again. It is part of the 6-step process that I actually teach inside of Activate Abundance, which falls under alignment, aligning to who our ideal client is. So as you grow and as you work with your ideal clients, you're going to get clearer and clearer and even more specific, because you're going to be working with people, you're going to be listening to them, you're going to be hearing what they're asking, and you're going to be able to get more and more specific. So Teresa, just trust that you're going to start someplace. And then as you start bringing more clients on, you're going to begin to hone that even more. But regardless of whether you want to get to 6 figures or 7 figures, this is a conversation that every successful business owner comes back to over and over and over again. Am I on track with my ideal client? Am I communicating to my ideal client? Is this person still my ideal client? Is this person, am I offering what it is that's really going to help serve her? And sometimes you move in other directions, and that's okay. But for right now, we want to just get really clear about who is the best client that we get to serve. Yeah. Anybody
I'm
else?
also planning on working with Jesse Cox with the money I would win.
Amazing. Awesome. Tavia or Christina or Courtney, Lucy, Brandy, Jenna, Dory, Britta, I'm so glad you guys are here. What is coming up for you? Do you need any support today around ideal client? We'll take about another 5 minutes to help you around this piece for today. And then tomorrow, again, I really want you to just spend some time for your ideal client, because once you know her, tomorrow we're going to talk about all of those places that you actually can find her.
Hi, Christine.
Hey, Tavia.
Hi. It's been a while.
It's been a couple years.
I know. I wanted to jump on and do this thing with you because one of the things I've experienced was I was in the second step down, where it's like I'm making money, but it's been like, and some people like it's economy, and other people like, no, it's not, so that's something I've been one, because I didn't have this problem last year actually, with my client and stuff, but it's just weird how things change,
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's why I was like, I need to really focus in on my avatar. And that's something I've been working on, is my ideal client. So I'm doing this class more as kind of a refresher to me. And
Yeah.
I was jotting down some notes and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm in creation mode right now and going into the next year. So this is very helpful.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Yeah. Again, this is not just this is a conversation, no matter what income level you are, that you will absolutely come back to over and over and over again. So even if you're $2 million, you're going to come back to these same questions. Yeah. To get clear with every offer that you create, you want to come to your ideal client. So that's something, that's another mistake that I see people making, is creating lots of different offers. Every offer has an ideal client.
Right.
Every offer has an ideal client. So that's one of the reasons why when I work with clients, we keep it to 2 core main offers to get to 6 figures. If we have too many offers, it's confusing. So 2 core main offers to get to 6 figures.
Yeah, that is something that I've jumped around with too. And I know I'm guilty, like everybody.
Oh,
you know,
gosh, we're entrepreneurs. We've got a gazillion ideas, right?
I know. And you know, it's like, oh, and I'm trying to, but yeah. And then I've had other coaches say, nope, just 1 offer. And I have 2 offers right now, and I feel confident in those 2 offers, you know?
Yeah.
But I am switching something currently around that I think will be a better, and yeah, anyways.
Yeah. I love 2 core main offers. I think what that does is this allows us to have, and again, this is not quite about ideal client, but it is kind of in a roundabout way, is because, you know, we can have a high paying client who is going to want a specific transformation, and then a mid-tier offer, right? Not everybody is going to want your high paid offer. And if you only have 1 offer, it needs to be a high paying offer in order for you to get to 6 figures if you're not there yet. So, you know, that's why I like to have a mid-tier offer and a high tier offer to create a seat on the bus for somebody who's not quite ready to go all in a highest tier offer, but still have a place that you can support them and serve them.
Right. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Hi,
Christina. How are you?
this is really good. It's the first time I have ever heard the niche and the ideal client be separated. Like, I always thought of them as one and the same. So this is actually really helpful as I'm working through like what I'm working through right now. And so I just kind of want to make sure my thinking is on the right track.
Happy.
So the way I would think about my niche is I serve women who feel stuck and feel like a victim in their circumstances, and that they've lost like all control over their health. That would be like the community. The ideal client that comes to mind, and this is because I'm one of them, but is caregivers. I'm in a community with caregivers who are extremely burned out and definitely feel like victims, and clearly have lost their sense of health. They just kind of claim that they're unhealthy, or their health condition, it is what it is, because they don't have time for themselves, because they have to give all their time to. I'm not that person, but I'm just saying that I have like a direct line to this. So my ideal client isn't necessarily the burned out caregiver, but it's like, if I was to describe her and all of the characteristics and the complaints and the pain points, that person is who I see as my ideal client. Is that like, am I thinking about that right?
Yeah. The only thing
have to be a caregiver, but like, the person that's just like the vision of the I don't want to necessarily like be working with caregivers.
Right. I got you. You're using kind of that example. So here's one thing that I do want to kind of help you with, and that is the person who says it is what it is, and you know, there's nothing I can do about it. She's actually not your ideal client. And the reason why is because she's not willing to do anything about her problem. I call that the sidewalker. There's actually 3 main clients in our world. We've got the sidewalkers, which are people who might be in our world. They might be liking your comments. They might be downloading some, but they're not willing to take any action to change anything. right? They don't believe they have a problem. It just is what it is. And so they're not going to take the time and energy to invest in making anything different. She's not the one that's waking up at 3 a.m. Googling, how do I balance taking care of my mom and myself, right? I'm just going to use the caregiving example. Then we've got people in the slow lane, and those are the people that are actively looking for a solution. This is what we want to know. We want to know exactly what are these people in the slow lane Googling at night? What are their pain points? What is she stuck around? What does she want instead? And then we have people that I call in the fast lane. There's about only 3% of people in the fast lane are ready to, give you money right now. Those are people that you've already had an experience of know, like, trust with. Again, nobody can say yes to working with you if they don't believe in you and if they don't trust you. So it's actually not effective to try to book 1 hour discovery sessions with clients who are strangers. That is another mistake that I see a lot of people making, because that's what we were taught. That's what I was taught. Just book discovery sessions with people and sell them into your XYZ program. Well, nobody can say yes to working with you if there hasn't been some experience of know, like, trust. And that doesn't happen in a 1 hour discovery session. It's really hard to walk somebody up the ladder of beliefs in a 1 hour discovery session. And it's really hard for somebody to give you 1 hour of their time if they don't know you, they don't like you, and they don't trust you. So that is a really outdated method. And I just went off on a tangent. Sorry about that. But
No, I love it. That's actually, like, I know, like, even just a couple years ago, that's what everybody, like, was trying to put on
Yes.
you, was like these
Yes.
discovery calls. And I never liked that. I
Yes.
didn't like going into people's DMs and like trying to force calls on them. I just, like, never believed in that. So I'm actually
Yeah.
relieved that that's like
Yes.
old.
Yeah. Yes. It's old. It's outdated. It was old and outdated back in 2015. So it's even old and outdated today. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't go into the DMs, but that is not the place I start. Right? If someone's in my Facebook group and we're having a conversation and she asks me a question, of course I'm going to go in the DMs and say, hey, thank you for asking the question. Here's a free resource. Happy to share with you, right? There's a difference in going into the DMs just to spam somebody with a link versus actually creating a relationship with somebody. Yeah. So I would just say, get really clear. Our ideal client is not somebody that we have to convince or persuade that they have a problem. Okay. We do not want to be in the habit of trying to convince or persuade somebody that they have a problem. And that is another mistake that many of us make when we first start out, is we think that our content is about convincing somebody that they have a problem. Our ideal client is not somebody who needs to be convinced. Our ideal client is somebody who is looking for a solution to a specific problem. And hopefully that feels like a relief, that we don't have to try to convince or persuade anybody. What we have to do is understand what it is that they're struggling with and what it is that they want, so that we can create, messaging and content that speaks to that, instead of trying to convince them that they should really care about, how they eat, or convince them that they should really take more time for themselves, or convince them, right? It doesn't work. People have to be ready and willing to do the work. And if they're not ready and willing to do the work, they're not our ideal client. Yeah.
Thank you.
Doesn't that feel better?
It does.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, we just get to let go of that. We get to, there are some people who are not ready. And the way that I, think about that is, look, the sidewalkers that are in my world that are not ready to do anything yet, I just get to tuck them in and love on them. But I'm not going to drag them across the finish line or try to convince or persuade them that they need support if they're not ready. And that's okay. Right? Some people need to, decide that they're ready. Some people are going to need to struggle with diabetes or high blood pressure or, burnout and stress or lack of whatever it is for a period of time before they're ready to actually take action around it. Yeah. So your ideal client does not need convincing or persuading that they have a problem. Courtney.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I have a question, and it is really specific to me, so I recognize that.
No, this is great. Go ahead.
and it's a stupid question, but I am just going to presence it just to make sure if there's something I need to tweak, or maybe you and I need to talk about separately.
Yeah.
These forgive me the word tactics, these ideas and
Yeah.
guidelines that we're learning, can they be used for male clients?
Absolutely.
It is great
100%.
and everything all
Yeah.
under the sun. I teach voice. And so I have a
Yeah.
lot of performers. So I have
Yes.
men, half my demographic is
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
so I just want to clarify that
Yeah.
I wouldn't change anything, but I just felt I wanted to throw that out there just to make sure I had.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So because I work with women, I use she a lot, but if you have ideal clients as men in your world, please interchange that.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, for sure.
I figured, but I just wanted
Yeah,
to
that's a good question.
throw
That's
that
a
out
really good
there.
question. Mhm. Yeah, and they are, again, your ideal client who are performers, whether they're men or women, they are going to want a specific result, and they're probably struggling with something too, right?
Yeah.
So, that's where you would just like write down, 3 of your best clients that you enjoyed, whether they were male or female, and go, okay, well, what are they struggling with? Why did they come to you? What are they asking you for? What do they want instead? Right. So that's going to give you all of those pain points and pleasure island points, right? And then our job is not to, again, remember, our job's not to convince them that they have a problem. Our job is to show that we are the vehicle to help them move from where they are to where they want to be. Our job is merely to show that our support is going to help them move from where they are to where they want to be. Oh, Lucy, I'm so glad you love that. Thank you for saying that. Makes so much. That means so much to me. Thank you. Yeah. And when we know that, then, and when we know and we can share that, look, I see you're struggling. I see you want this. This is the way that I can support you. This is the way that I can help you. Did you have another question about your ideal client? No, that was easy.
Okay, I lied. I'll take it back. Yes, I do have another question. And I'm curious if anyone else is feeling this way too, is I'm a little nervous or scared to promise transformation because I can lead them to and give them the insight and the mechanics, but
Yeah.
they have to do the work.
Absolutely.
So I really don't, want to create some fake sales of, oh, if you do this and then you'll get this, when I can't promise that. But I see a lot of coaching, or I see a lot of training, either in the voice or performing industry or more coaching based, like, results, like I can guarantee you this, or I can give you your money back, or I can do this. And I can't make any of those claims.
Yeah.
So I get stuck in what am I promising in terms of transformation is more like.
Yes. So here's the way that, oh my God, this is such a good question. Such a good question. I cannot wait to dive into this one. So you're absolutely right. We cannot promise a result for somebody unless we can jump inside their body and do the work for them. What we can do is we can promise that if they do the work, if they show up, if they take action, if they implement what is predictable to happen, is this result over here. So you're absolutely right. Now, when guarantees come in, guarantees are helping people lower the risk. So that's really why we put guarantees. I actually have a guarantee inside of Activate Abundance, but it is specific to action. If you show up to the calls, if you implement what I teach, if you take the steps, if you're coachable, if you do the work, what is predictable to happen is this. And if you don't hit that, then you can go through the program again. So I don't like doing a, money back guarantee because I don't believe that there's any accountability with that. So again, this is totally just my personal view on guarantees. I do believe that we want to have some sort of risk reducing process that makes people accountable to actually implementing what it is that you're helping them with, right? Like if somebody doesn't, if you're like, you know what, if you show up and you do the voice exercises that I give you every single day for 30 minutes a day, was predictable to happen by the end of however long is this. This is what I see. These are the transformation or results that my clients get. you can position it that way, and that way the responsibility falls on them to actually implement what it is that you're teaching them. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the promise is what is predictable to happen. What is predictable to happen when they implement with your support? Think about it like that. And I know that the word promise is used out there, right? What's your program promise, right? And I would say your program promise is, if they show up, take the action, implement what is predictable to happen at the end of the time together. And then we do want to share, that by the end of our time together, these are things that are, that my clients have results with. Is that helpful at all, Courtney? Yeah, I think we just get to be really clear about that. And again, we don't want to, overpromise that, in, this amount of time, you're going to absolutely have this XYZ thing, unless you already have clients that have experienced that, and that result is possible. Right. And then it does fall on the responsibility of the person to actually implement what works. And what works also is a proven process. So that's the other thing that you get to share, Courtney, is you want to have and all of you need to have a process. You need to have a signature system, a proprietary process, a framework, something that people can see that there's going to be a series of steps to take so that they go from Pain Island to Pleasure Island. And what that does is it takes the pressure off of you needing to sell yourself. And it makes the process, which is really what people invest in, is processes. It makes your process or your signature system the hero. Right? Because people want to know, well, why should I work with you? What makes you so great? Right? Well, it's because I have a process. I have a signature system. I have a series of steps that I teach that take people from here to here. And that process creates predictable results. Yeah. Gosh, we're getting into some juicy stuff tonight, even over and above ideal client, you guys. This is so good. Yeah. All right. What's an aha? I would love to hear kind of like, what is one golden nugget that you're taking away today? If you're in the Facebook group, go ahead and pop that in the chat. If you're here on Zoom, I would love for you to just come off mute or pop it in the chat. Either way, what is a golden nugget that you're taking away about uncovering who your ideal client is? Niche versus ideal client. Yes. Oh my God. That was such a huge one for me, Christina, too. When I finally stopped worrying about niche and just got specific on my ideal client, like it was a game changer. Yeah. Teresa says niche versus ideal client too. 3 types of client, right? Slow lane, sidewalk, slow lane, fast lane. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I think we get hung up on, everybody talks about niche, especially when, we first graduate from, we always get hung up on that. And that's something really transferred and learned over the last couple months, is it's more about the avatar, the ideal client. So it's a big deal. And so thank you and everybody sharing that too.
Yeah. So glad that was helpful. Jenna asked, it all makes sense. Thank you. I need to focus on my ideal client. Does the ideal client change as you grow professionally? Yes, it does. Your ideal client can change as you grow. And I don't necessarily mean that, you're not going to work with, stay-at-home moms anymore. You're just going to get more clear about who the ideal client is that gets the best results with your process and program. So as you grow professionally, as you work with more clients, you're just going to uncover more and more and more and more about, the intimate things about your ideal client and how you can help them get the best support. Sometimes that means that your ideal client will shift. Sometimes it happens organically, like it did with me. I had no intention of going into business coaching. That is not what my background is in wellness, and I had no intention of becoming a business coach, but I began to shift organically because people were asking me how I had built a thriving health coaching business. And I just started sharing. And as I began to share, more people were asking. And so I began to share more. And so I organically morphed and shift into business coaching for wellness entrepreneurs, because that was me. And I saw that there was a lot of mistakes that I had made when I first started. And I wanted to collapse the timeline so that more people could actually create income a whole lot quicker than having to spend as long as it took me to do that. Brandy said, your descriptions of people who are not ready, and more specifically, not having to convince someone they have issues, right? Yeah. I hope that took some relief off your shoulders, Brandy, and everybody here. Your job as a coach or a holistic practitioner in whatever realm you're serving is not to convince somebody that they have a problem, and it's not to convince them that they need you. It is to uncover where they're getting stuck and share ways that they can have a different result with your support. Ultimately, they get to decide. We don't need to drag anybody across the finish line. As a matter of fact, I don't ever do that. That's why I actually stopped doing discovery sessions, and I only do clarity calls now with somebody who already knows that they want support, somebody who already wants more information about resources. They're already pre-qualified. Yes, I'm not in the business of convincing people. I'm in the business for those that have convinced themselves. Yeah, and they're ready. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. All right, everybody. I hope you had a good time tonight. I hope you'll come back tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to dive into more juicy stuff. Take some time to answer these questions so that you're welcome, so that you have an even clearer picture. Look, it's not going to be perfect. I'm not asking for perfection, but have a clearer place of where this ideal client avatar, we're going to talk about where you can find her tomorrow. Okay, awesome. Thanks for being here, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. You're welcome.